How many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
Well, welcome to the Prepared Mind channel, folks. It is, January 7th, according to the date thing over here. Welcome back to the channel. We've got a lot to talk about. I'm going to try and keep it clean and neat and tidy, but you need to be prepared. So what I wanted to do is I just wanted to bring up a couple of things. Well, I guess we always do that, don't we? And I want you, if you've got something to talk about, bring up your things down below in the comment section. If you're on the preparedmind.club, or if you go to the Prepared Mind at subscribestar.com, you can be a guerrilla funder of our guerrilla communications network right here. That's right. This is the guerrilla war in the information war and the propaganda war. In fact, I want to start by talking about propaganda. I'm going to ask you, and I want you to be honest with yourself. You can be honest in the comments too if you want, or you can bullshit the comments. I don't give a fuck. Anyways, do you think you, in your life, with what you look at, listen to, talk to, people, television, social, do you think you get facts and truth? Or do you understand, and this is my belief, that everything is a lie, wrapped in a few facts and a modicum of truth, but ultimately the object against us is to use the appeal to authority to get us to obey and support the message and the messenger that comes from government mainstream media, right? Propaganda. Way back in World War II, they were honest about it. The Nazis had Goebbels, minister of propaganda, right? The Soviet Union, the communists had their newspaper, Pravda, which means truth, right? Okay, sure, that's the truth, all right, coming from the government, right? You think it's any better here in this country? Folks, when the mainstream media gives a report to the whole world, how much truth do you think is in it? How much facts as a member or as a number of percentage? 30%? Are their stories 30% true? 50%? Do you think the mainstream media gives us 80%? You know, and then there's the government. When the government gives a report or a press briefing, they always like to use the term official sources, right? To get your mind set to the idea of authority doesn't lie and you must accept it. Do you give official sources a belief rating of 30%, 50%, or 80% for their facts? Folks, when a foreign government releases reports, do you think they're honest? You know, China, Ukraine, England, right? Or do you think they're honest, or do they have propaganda? And they want to try and control our perspective. Again, foreign government, do they give 30%, 50%, or 80% facts? Would you tend to believe Canada or Australia over United States government news releases? You know, in all cases, I'm assuming you give anywhere between 30 and 50% based on your informed pool of data, right? Your knowledge, combine that with and base it on our experiences with ourselves and our interactions with government and media over the past couple decades. You know, my belief of their facts and truth is pretty low. I know that they need that truth and a little bit of facts to kind of make things sell really well, but I recommend we always go back to our foundation of thought. We're a constitutional republic, and we are good people at heart. And I think that helps regulate our mental processes and regenerates this strong filter to always go back to our foundation. It regenerates this filter through which we process and determine what is happening and what the objective of the propagandists are, right? And as kind of a side note and a way to look at propaganda for what it is and how to use it. There's an AI character that is now all over YouTube. He's created to discuss financial systems, the currency, international, national policies, etc. And there's a lot of concern over him, right? Many are complaining he's only 80% truthful and that everything he says is propaganda. What I found interesting about these complaints is that we, you and I, just regular people, we're supposed to dismiss this AI character, Asian guy, because he's clearly not real and perfect and likely has an agenda, propaganda that's being played out through his presentations. But whether or not he's 80% correct, that's kind of a non sequitur. What matters is understanding propaganda. What is being asked for from us as the purveyor, the customer, and to know it's almost always whatever they're saying is not good for us, as in we the people. So again, I'm going to say trust no one. Check the info as best you can. Know and understand it's propaganda first and foremost, and always be prepared, knowing that the future the government wants, know what the future the government wants, and the mainstream media and foreign governments. What they want is not what we want. They'll tell us what we want, hope we believe it, hope we buy their story. But if they're only 80%, hell, I think the government is full of shit more than 50% of the time. I think this AI guy is at least more honest. And as long as you look at him and say, propaganda, look at them all as propaganda. Our government wants us to believe something. The Democrats want you to believe one thing, the Republicans another. You want truth and fact in there? You want propaganda? Well, we're going to get propaganda. And that concludes the intro. Let's get into some more stuff. But first, I want a reminder. The newly created word by The Prepared Mind is Musriel. And that's a combination of Muslim and Israel. Musriel, I've got to use that word interchangeably for all of them to try and keep us out of trouble here. Be sure to use that word, though, Musriel, when describing any bad guys with Middle Eastern nationality or religion, because they all, folks, all of the peoples and religions from the Middle East want the United States of America destroyed. They want the Constitution destroyed. They want our traditions demonized. They want our culture erased. They want our lives ended and our existence wiped from history. I mean, just getting a little conspiratorial here. Think about the evidence for prior civilizations that were as advanced as we are today, or maybe more advanced. Do you know about that evidence and that it's being uncovered and researched? It could be just propaganda. It could be real. But if it's real, why have historians and politicians buried that evidence? Who destroyed this other place? And then why is something I always like to ask. It's going to get stupid, folks. And now, once again, a reminder, get your questions and comments if you're here live. And that is 4:30 Eastern time every day, Monday through Friday, but only on the thepreparedmind.club as a Gorilla Premium member and subscribestar.com. If you go to the Prepared Mind there and you're a premium Gorilla funder and supporter. So enough on that. You got to pimp out that. And of course, the preparedmind.club just to get all the items you need to be prepared. Get prepared. Everyone that's been communicating with me lately, I asked them, you're prepared? You got enough stuff? Anyways, some of you I won't ask that, though, because you're probably more prepared than me. So Hitler said, I want to give you perspective, folks. Perspective. Hitler said, quote, "We are at fault for not slaying them. Rather, we allow them to live freely in our midst, despite all of their murdering, cursing, blaspheming, lying, and defaming. We protect and shield their synagogues and houses, life and property. In this way, we make them lazy and secure." Doesn't that sound kind of He was a Catholic priest. He was very well educated and also very much an independent man and thinker. Martin Luther wrote a book through which that quote was derived called On the Jews and Their Lies, which was published in the year 1543. Yeah, that Martin Luther from the year 1543. Most people know Martin Luther as the man who didn't bow to the Pope and got tired of the lies of Catholicism. He wrote his paper, his thesis, on how the Catholic Church wasn't absolutely correct, and he nailed it to the church door. That's what he's most famous for. But he also wrote his book. He wrote his book on the Jews and their lies. I found that just interesting. Protestantism, as a result of Martin Luther, this is how influential he was. This is how intelligent he was. He was able to speak to the people and get the point out. Protestantism splintered from the Catholic Christian faith and is today an extremely strong Christian sect. Christians are divided between Protestants, protest, and Catholicism, which means universal Christian. So was Martin Luther. I guess he was educated, very smart, and strong-willed. But was he right about Catholicism being not good enough, or Christianity in general? And was he wrong about the Jewish Talmud? You tell me. The world is waking up. The world is paying attention, and it's getting real. It's getting real, folks. So I've got more for you. This concept of the purge. Remember that movie, The Purge, where people once a year get to hunt each other and kill each other, and it's just fine. It's completely legal. In fact, the government mandates it. Anyways, I say, hey, let the purge begin then. Chaos today has erupted in Minneapolis because a rioter attempted to run over immigrations and customs enforcement agents. That is attempted murder. To run someone over is to attempt to murder them. And so, well, the ICE officers fatally shot this rioter, this protester who attempted to run them over. Just wow. Now we're in that room. Are you thinking this will get better? This anti-immigrant, pro-immigrant, anti-Palestine, pro-Palestine, anti-Israel, pro-Israel? Do you think this is going to get better as we approach midterm elections? And our communists, Somalis, illegals, Antifa, BLM, Palestinian a-holes, and the LGBT tranny pedophile groups, do you think they want to get violent? Or do you think they're going to play nice as we move into these midterm elections? There's going to be a fight over the House of Representatives. Is there going to be a fight in the street? Is this shooting of an American protester who tried to murder federal agents for doing their job, which is within their constitutional authority, is that an indicator that the violence is about to get nasty? Well, I tell you what, the violence is nasty all the time. It's just what is going to be that one spark that starts the St. George Floyd style riots. Now, up in Minneapolis, in response to the self-defense shooting by ICE against this lunatic left-wing woman who attempted to run them over, the mayor, the far-left flagget, Jacob Frey, had this quote: "Get the fuck out of Minneapolis." So the mayor, who's likely to be taking money from the fraudster daycare centers run by Somalis, I think he might need a lesson in constitutional authority. And probably he needs an ass kicking for being such a feminine crunt. Oh boy, folks. A feminine crunt. I think that's a great way to describe the mayor of Minneapolis. It's just going to get better. It's just going to get better. In New York City, we now have a mayor there who was not born in this country, who has no business experience, no political experience, no real life experience. He doesn't know whether he's from, he doesn't know what country he serves in Israel. He's a Musraelian, right? He's from Musrael. He seems to serve both of them, both religions and both secular belief systems from the Middle East. He is now the mayor, and he's a communist. Anyways, his aide, named Sia Weaver, I think it's Sia, well, she posted racist anti-white tweets. And so the media wanted to talk with her at her home. And when she was asked questions about what she has posted and where she lives, she literally started, sniveling and bawling and ran back inside her home. Her mom's extravagant and well-placed home. They're hypocrites one and all, folks. Wealth for them, communist equality for all of us, right? All of us. Well, unless you're white or a black conservative or a Hispanic conservative, and then we all get to die. But this woman, right, all of her anti-white crap works for Mandami. That's where these countries, these cities, states, counties, etc., are going. Just like the mayor of Chicago and the mayor of Boston. They're outraged that there's 40% white people in Boston. It's outrageously white there with 40% white. Unbelievable. I'm surprised it's not 80% white. I thought that they'd have a lot more whiteys up there in Beantown. Guess not. In any event, the anti-white racism is extremely prominent, folks. It's going to be coming right at you. And over the next few weeks and months, I'll be sharing with you anti-white newspaper clippings. And we'll talk about the people that write them. Now, I want to give you a State of the Union. I'm going to beat Trump to it. Here's the state of our union. The Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, told the court that it cannot produce the requested January 6 documents and information for 4 more years. Well, why not? If there's a court order, why is it going to take 4 years? It's kind of a funny question, don't you think? And Pfizer, they want 75 years to keep their mRNA research from the public. That's right. Their Jim Jones juice formula, the testing, the consequences, the number of deaths, reactions, injuries. Well, nothing says trust the science like secrecy in the face of overwhelming death and medical injury. Yep. Wow, that's kind of like the CIA. They want to keep everything secret. Nothing says trust the government like an agency that assassinates both foreign and United States presidents. They assassinate media, and they assassinate people like Charlie Kirk, Seth Rich, Vince Foster, Jeffrey Epstein, John McAfee. Need I say more? They could assassinate me anytime. Who knows? God bless those CIA guys. They're just fucking marvelous, aren't they? Nothing says trust us, right? What's the believability of the CIA when they put information out there as an official source, or an official source leaks, or an unnamed official source says? Yeah. So as you can plainly see, in my opinion at least, that you can't trust these people. Official sources, bureaucracy, government, foreign governments, foreign corporations, American corporations, the banks. I trust none of them. Absolutely none of them. All right, and I think I'm gonna hit on this one pretty good, and I want all of your topics, all of your questions, all of your thoughts down below. I want to cover a little bit of Venezuela stuff today. Trump has put the Interior Minister named Cabello on notice. That's the Interior Minister of Venezuela. He put him on notice. Cooperate or be the next target. Oh, I see. See, I thought, and folks, by no means do I love Nicolas Maduro, respect the guy, want to hang out with the guy, want to have dinner with him. No, thank you. He's a fucking communist. And more. Not good more. Right? But I thought he was the problem. He was the one the United States government had an arrest warrant for. Because that's what they're claiming they did. They claim that they went to another country, to its leader, and said he violated some rule or law of the United States, and therefore that makes him a wanted criminal with a warrant for his arrest. And they were able to go from Washington, D.C. or someplace down and arrest Maduro and haul him off. So I thought that they arrested Maduro not for refusing to cooperate with United States instructions, but rather because he was a criminal who was committing crimes that violated our laws, and that's why they arrested him. There's a difference between criminality and failing to cooperate, isn't there? Well, the way Trump kind of worded it and the way it's being reported is that cooperate or you're going to be the next target. I thought, but shouldn't he just say, don't be a criminal or be the next target? Now, that would make sense, right? But, we were told it's for the oil. It's not about the oil. It's about the drugs. It's about the criminal things. Pam Bondi, idiot she is, thinks it's about gun violations by a foreign leader from a sovereign nation. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Well, don't you worry. The people in Venezuela, they're going to cooperate, I bet. They just plucked one piece of shit out of Venezuela. Don't worry. Delcy Rodriguez, who I told you is the VP, is now the new president. So goodbye to the old boss. Meet the new boss. They're the same type of person. Delcy Rodriguez, president of Venezuela, fires all of the security detail. Well, the ones that weren't killed. I think 38 were killed in that raid and arrest. She fired the rest of them that are alive, and she has hired, in addition to that, you're going to love this name. This is a bureaucracy. This is a high-level administrator, cabinet member position, torture czar. That's right. She's hired and appointed a torture czar. This came from Gateway Pundit, by the way. I think this is an interesting conclusion of the Maduro operation. They remove an a-hole communist who supposedly ruined the oil business there. Is a cocaine cartel kind of guy. And they replaced him with someone who's probably just as bad across the board, but is so communist, so murderous that she appoints a fucking torture czar. Yeah, I think that's out of the frying pan and into the fire. I heard people defending Trump today at work, which is great. I want to hear all sides saying, yeah, man, the people are celebrating Nicolas Maduro being removed. Really? And so now you have Delcy Rodriguez, another hardcore communist, literal communist, just like Nicolas Maduro, who has a torture czar. Maybe Venezuelans like torture czars and they're extremely happy. I don't know. So didn't the other day, though, didn't Trump say that the United States controls Venezuela? I'm pretty sure someone said, who's going to run Venezuela? And Trump said, the U.S. will. Or he said us, which interestingly also spells U.S. So Trump says the United States controls Venezuela. But I think us Americans are starting to see that Musriel is the one that controls Trump. Also Congress and the Senate and everyone else in Washington, D.C. So the new Venezuelan boss is worse than the old boss with a new and improved cabinet. which includes a torture czar. But Trump says he controls Venezuela. We, us, the United States, are going to fix it down there. So is the torture czar Trump's idea? I don't think Trump and Israel want a drug cartel cooperating and serving the administrator of a country with them. Do you? Do you think that? Do you think Trump and Israel want Delcy to have drug cartel cooperation and support? Oh, wait a minute. I'm standing very corrected here. President Sheinbaum of Mexico is a communist, just like Delcy. She's female, just like Delcy. I wonder what her ethnic nationality is. Now, anyways, they're both in bed with drug lords who is not, I repeat, not being threatened by Trump over drugs, right? President Sheinbaum over in Mexico is obviously easily, transparently controlled by the drug lords, and Trump isn't saying anything to her. So I guess the CIA, Mossad, Trump, and Israel are good with a female commie drug lord protected puppet. I wonder, has anyone seen Delcy's nose and what it looks like? Woo! I'm telling you, folks, it is a wild, wild day. It's going to get wild everywhere. It's wild in the stock market. Lots of propaganda there. It's wild on national politics. Lots of propaganda there. International politics. Lots of propaganda. Politics and propaganda out of the Musraelis. All sides there, all religions, just crazy off the hook. Crazy off the hook. Iran, the propaganda about Iran and protests there, all over the news. The protests in Israel, crickets. Have you heard or seen anything in the mainstream media about the protests in Israel over wanting to have President Bibi wanting him, to be held responsible for what happened on October 7th? Oh, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Media is not covering it. Media is not saying a word. Media is remaining very quiet. That's almost propaganda by silence, don't you think? They try to ignore so many other stories, though. Kind of like ignoring all the underage girls being raped in England over the last 10 years by, immigrants. Musraeli immigrants. Even in our own country, the media is ignoring what they are saying and doing. The Musraelis, all sides, folks, all religions that aren't Christian, aren't American, are here trying to take over. One side wants to take over using bribes and politics with children, drugs, and hookers as the extortion bait. And on the other side, they're using breeding population base as their means to grow their numbers and control. And they are just telling us openly they're going to physically dominate us, control us, fight us, rape us, and kill us. Folks, understand that if you come to this show, The Prepared Mind, with a perspective that people are innately and naturally good, and that if you're kind to them, they'll respond in kind. They'll be kind back to you. If you have that belief, you are extremely naive. You're not very worldly. You are setting yourself up to be a victim. Look, I knew people in the service that are good people, right? They're Marines. They went through the recruiting process. They passed the tests. They went through boot camp, right? They're with the unit, and you're all supposed to be tight and bond, cool. And guess what? Leave your fucking wall locker open. Someone steals your shit in less than 5 fucking minutes. These are supposed to be, I think I know who it was. And yeah, that was way back in 1989. Doesn't, right? But still, if that's someone you're supposed to trust who sees something really good you've got and they steal it from you, what makes you think that someone from another country whose culture says it's supposed to be stolen because you're an idiot, you're less than human, they're superior to you? That's just stealing an item. What about ruining your life? What about politically blackmailing you? What about professionally extorting you? What about using the government to commit fraud? Right? Within our own traditions, cultures, laws, and belief systems, our morals, if you will, it's hard to keep our culture in line, which is why we have laws and police and prosecutors and judges and prisons. But once you step outside of our culture, our people, our American ideals, once you step outside that, you've got something so totally foreign that you cannot comprehend it. They only understand the sword. They only understand violence. That's it. The Israelis only understand violence. Whether it's using the government to commit violence or committing an act of violence, if you're not American, this is where it's coming and this is where it's heading. All the violence, explosions, torture, backstabbing, stealing, thieving, lying, raping, human trafficking, sex trafficking, slave trafficking. Oh yeah, they sell slaves in Musraeli countries, all over North Africa and the Middle East. The slave trade is still alive and well. That's right, folks. People, black, brown, white, put up for auction. Don't let them fool you, folks. They're not full of compassion. They're not nice. They're not here because they want the American dream. All of them are here to take advantage of you, our country, our system, our generosity, and our naivete. It is time to stop being naive. It's time to start waking up and listening to the founding fathers who talked explicitly about foreign entanglements, government authority, and our rights to keep our country ours. All right. Before we get into your questions and comments, I want to say a big fat thank you to foreign governments who helped the United States colonies become the United States of America. I want to thank France for all of its financial support in the revolution against the English, their supplying of food and ammunition, munitions, and also their professionalism. And I also want to thank the Germans, who were hired by the English, German mercenaries, the Hessians, who came to America and, when given the opportunity to fight for the Americans, chose to do so. In exchange, of course, for the opportunity to be free, have land, and live in peace. Yep, so thank you, Germany. Thank you, France of 1776 era. And let's move into the questions. Mr. Uman, what shall we discuss? Uman, given his opinion, folks, and he means it. If you're on the extreme left or extreme right, are emotionally invested in any creator, media source, you've been propagandized because all sides are lying to you. Question everything, question everyone. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be completely fucking honest with you guys. I am an American. I was born in Northern California. I was raised in Northern California. I spent most of my life up until 2020 in Northern California. I'm an American. I love America. I love the Constitution. I believe in it. I've lived it, I've loved it, and I've lived without it, and I hated it. What I want to say is my channel, this channel, the Prepared Mind channel, the Prepared Mind Network is a tool that uses propaganda. You bet. The propaganda, what that I want you to believe, I'll just come right out and tell you what I want you to do. I want you to be prepared. My information that I share is designed and intended to influence your thinking and cause you to do everything you can to protect yourself, your family, your community with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. My propaganda is to get you to accept and understand and value and fight for the U.S. Constitution, the law, justice, small government, lots of freedoms and liberties, the First Amendment, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 9th. Did I miss any? 3rd, right? Yeah, all of our Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I want everyone to support it because it contributes and is part and parcel to our freedoms and liberties and restricted government. So I'm honest with you. I'm not lying to you. Propaganda, freedom. That's it. I'll be honest. Like I said, honest. I don't know if others will be honest about it. They're pro-China. They're pro-Russia. They're pro-Ukraine. They're pro-Musrael, right? They're pro-Palestine. They're pro-Iran. I'm pro-America, America first, and I'm starting to feel America only on most items because you can't trust anyone. If you're going to trust me at anything, hey, check all the stories I talk about, all the facts, how we've traced this, documented everything else. Propaganda is incredibly powerful. It causes people to say and do things. Now, to take Uman's example, an extreme lefty last year, the Democrats said no kings, and they had their no kings protest because they said Trump was trying to be a king, right? A king, a tyrant, a dictator. Trump arrests Maduro from another country, and the Democrats, extreme leftists, start screaming to put the dictator back in his country that he is controlling like a king, like a tyrant. King bad, king good. Extreme leftists, Democrats, communists, idiots, socialists. Those guys right there. The extreme left, they'll say whatever they're told to say today, and it could be 180 degrees different, the exact opposite way. And they'll say that. No kings, get the king back there. They're idiots, right? But Uman's right. The extreme right-wing fools, they're following right-wing propaganda. Remember, here is, this is the left-wing. I'm sorry, this is the left-wing communists. This is the right-wing fascists. This is the freedom wing over here. Hi, freedom. Left-wing, right-wing, left-wing. If you're extreme either of these, you've been propagandized and controlled into believing that government's authoritarian. It's just whether or not you think you're going to benefit by their policies. I'm over here. Not here. I'm over here, which says my freedoms matter. I want to be free. Free of restraint. Free of taxation to the maximum, right? Free. So I can live the life the way I want. Not the way some propagandist is beating on people over here. Question everything. Question everyone. Be honest with yourself. Holy cow. Here we go. Uman brings up Dan Bongina. Prime example of someone who's an extreme right-wing guy, right? He leaves government service. He becomes an influencer. Starts propagandizing people, and he collects a large amount of people because he used his appeal to authority to convince people he's not lying and full of shit. He's a good guy. He's on their side because he was a Secret Service agent, right? So seems pretty important. Got pictures of him around the Clintons. That's when he served as a Secret Service person. So Dan Bongina rides that wave of authority. uses his opinion to sway people to follow him. Then Trump hires him. Whoa, he gets appointed as deputy director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. But once he's part of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, instead of playing the propaganda crap of, I'm going to lock up the Epstein people, I'm going to arrest them, I'm going to save the children, I'm going to be honest and forthright and never be full of shit. And what does he do? Once they actually make him the deputy director, he's full of shit. He starts, instead of exposing the pedophiles, he starts defending the pedophiles, covering for the pedophiles, hiding the pedophiles, and then ultimately denying the pedophiles. It was a hoax. Well, wait a minute. I thought we were supposed to trust your authority, your propaganda, that you have inside knowledge, you have inside information, you know what's going on, and you're going to fix it. Right? And he didn't. And I have excoriated him. I have criticized him. He can kiss my ass. He's a fucking bitch. By bitch, I mean he's owned. And he didn't have the integrity to quit. Matt Gaetz did. He says, I don't even want the attorney general's job. Dan Bongina, they brought him in. And he's like, I'm giving up $3 million on my social media show. Wish I made that much a year. Wish I had that much. I don't. Anyways, Dan Bongina says, I'm giving up all this money. Well, they wanted to borrow his credibility. Why? For purposes of propaganda, to buy support. I'm sure they paid through some mystical, magical way several $1 million to Dan Bongina's offshore numbered, unnamed account that he controls. And he came in and he did exactly what they told him to do. Period. He hid the Epstein files from us. He lied about the Epstein files to us. He bullshitted us and drug us along and strung us along. We're getting on it. We're reviewing them right now. They're on the desk. Fucking right? Hooked like a fish. And if you fall for the propaganda, they got you. Always question authority. Always. I mean, when Trump first took office this presidential term, first 2 weeks he was on fire, saying the right things and some good things were happening. Oliver and I looked at each other and we're just like, I can't believe it. This fucking guy's doing what he said, what he's supposed to. Are we going to have to start trusting him and believing him? Well, don't worry. That disappeared pretty fucking quick. Right? I mean, we went, yep, there it is. Here comes the bullshit. Here comes the cult-like belief and following. Question everyone. Dan Bongina was a great example of someone who said one thing, came in, did something completely different. Oh, and now that he's out of the deputy director's office, he is taken back to social media, and he is attacking anyone who attempts to red pill or black pill anyone. He's going after Matt Gaetz, who had integrity and said, I don't want the job because you're telling me that I can't arrest the bad guys. Bongina's attacking him. He's going after anybody in social media, Dan Bongina says, who is a threat to the Musraelis. He just told us who bought him. He just told us what king over in his little country owns him. Folks, it's going to get real ugly. It's getting loud. And when people argue and it gets louder and louder, it becomes contentious, it becomes violent almost. Oh, that's when it becomes violent. Governments, when they don't get their way, what do? They go to war. They go to war. They use violence to solve their problems. Don't think for a fucking second that when you and I, the American people, en masse, whether it's 50% or 20% or 10%, doesn't matter. When that percentage of people say we've fucking had enough, isn't violence justified? Just like when President Trump does violence or Ukraine does violence. Ukraine attacking civilians with drones. No problem, no war crime. Zelensky with a drone. 82 drones tries to assassinate Putin. No war crimes. Completely one man in Ukraine, backed up by, I guess, the European Union. And he wants to assassinate the leader of a nuclear superpower. He wants to attack civilians in another country. Violence to get their way. So when they piss us off enough, and I'm not telling anyone to get violent or do something dumb, dangerous, harmful. I'm saying when it's time to get violent, we're all going to know it. When it happens, we're all going to be aware. You need to be ready ahead of time with supplies. But when it happens, we are every bit as capable and authorized to use violence to get our way as well. Understand, me, you, us, Americans, we won't be the ones that start it. We will be the ones reacting to it, because good people with a respectable religion, with tradition, culture, morality, we won't be the ones to be attacked first. Right? We won't be the ones who attack someone else because we're good. But others are going to commit acts of violence, and it's going to be game on. Just a prediction. It's a prediction. Oh man, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel on this wonderful hump day of January 7th, 2026? And it's Chin Music in the house. And he says, we are recovering our original investment in the Venezuelan oil sector. We built the refineries and the drilling for that crude, which is dirty. And then Chavez seized all the assets and kicked us out. They owe us billions and we only got a percentage. The rest was shared with the people, Chavez and Maduro. It's not Cesar Chavez, or maybe it was. Chavez was the communist prior to Maduro. Chavez and Maduro took it all for the regime and nothing for the people, crushed the economy in 20 years. Like I said, Maduro and the communists are assholes, yes. This fight over the oil. Can we go back to the first part? There we go. We're recovering our original investment in the Venezuelan oil sector. When you say we built the refineries, what I don't understand, I know that American oil companies helped develop the oil fields. We're building refineries. When we say we, do we mean we, the United States government, with taxpayer money, or do we mean we, the oil companies, invested their money in those refineries and well fields and equipment, well services? That's something I'm not too sure about, is who's the we. But I can say this: if it's we, the United States government, we the people, our tax money, yeah, someone owes us. If it's U.S. companies, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you because I believe this. Fuck them. And there's a reason why. When we, me or you, not just you, Chin Music, any of us, if we make an investment in an American corporation through Wall Street, and that company goes bankrupt, goes out of business, gets sued, catches on fire and burns to the ground, does the United States government give us a return and say, sorry about your investment attempt? Or do they say, buyer beware? You took a chance. Investing is risky. Know your risk limitations and do your research before you do business with Wall Street and those corporations, right? The government will never make you or me or any other investor whole. Well, my mistake. If you're a bank or a major corporation that someone knows someone in government, you will be bailed out. But us little people, fuck us. Fuck us. Right? So I say to the refineries, the oil companies, you went down there, you did business with a fucking communist. You invested your money as a corporation in a deal with a communist. Go fuck yourself. And I know that also hurts the investors, doesn't it? While the government will bail out the corporations, the oil companies, they won't bail me and you out. We are screwed, right? Now, if the money that was lent down there, was U.S. money, U.S. government money, Venezuela should pay it back. They should. Right. Now, I know that Chavez is a piece of shit. I know Maduro's a piece of shit. I know that Darcy Rodriguez is a communist piece of shit. But they claim, or members of the Venezuelan government claim, that they did pay back the oil companies. Oil companies are saying, no, they didn't get paid back. They got a small percentage. Is that what you wrote in the second section? Let's go to the second part of Chin Music's comments, because they're really good. Really a good topic just to discuss and think about. Right? They owe us billions and we only got a small percentage, or a percentage. What is the percentage? I don't know. I haven't been able to find that. But the Venezuelans say they gave them more. But are the oil companies and the U.S. government saying, well, we invested, say, $5 billion, and you only gave us $5 billion back, but we know because of our work that $5 billion should be worth $25 billion, right? That's what investing is supposed to be about. You put in a little money, you get performance from the company, and you get a big chunk back. Except unless you're an American investor investing in Wall Street, you get you make 10% in a year, and then they do what's called a nice haircut and take 9 of it back. That's a market correction. That's a haircut. Market correction. Anyways, yeah. Who got screwed? Private corporations or government? Well, the United States government says we're going to invest money, not private money. This time, I'm pretty sure it's government money, our tax money. It's being handed off. They're talking about sharing that with the oil companies to develop the oil fields, refineries, and get the system going again, all the well field services, etc. If we do that, what do the American people get? I think that's a fair question to ask. Like, we spent how many hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars in Iraq and Afghanistan? Over 20 years, what did we get out of that? We invested that as a nation through the actions of our government, and we got, as far as I can tell, dick. I don't see any Iraqi gas stations giving me 50 cents a gallon of gasoline or diesel here in Florida. I don't know what we got out of Iraq. I don't know what we got out of Afghanistan. But, I don't trust the government to be an investor, and I don't trust the information they provide. I certainly don't trust these fucking communists. If they say, yeah, we paid them back. Yeah, with what? Your fucking worthless Venezuelan bolivars, you lying bastards. I don't trust our government. We invested money down there. No. We bailed out whoever went down there to do business and lost their asses. Now, is it 1 billion or 5 billion, 10 billion? I don't know. I haven't heard how many billions the government says that Venezuela owes us. But so far, I think now, as of today, the U.S. government has seized, is it 3 super tankers of oil? I think it's 3. 4. Fuck, Uman says 4. 4 oil tankers. Now, if they're full to the brim, and they've got like, how much fucking oil does an oil tanker hold dollar-wise? Just say oil's $50 a barrel, and they hold 1 million barrels. 50 times 1 million, $50 million in oil. And then the value of the ship, this tanker ship, these super tankers. I don't know. So we're looking at somewhere around $200 million a piece for the oil and the ship that we can get. Okay, cool. We only need to capture another, 10, 20, 30 oil tankers? Who knows? Anyways, the last part of your thing, Chin, it crushed the economy in 20 years. I remember reporting back, I think 8-10 years ago, about the Venezuelans who were eating, livestock, but not livestock that was supposed to be eaten. Then they started eating zoo animals as well as domestic pets. They were any trucks on the highway that were thought to contain food were harangued and caused to crash and then immediately looted by the people because, the Venezuelan bolivar, their coin, their currency, Bolivar used to buy a cup of coffee. By the time I got done reporting on it and just fucking gave up on it, I think they were up to 1 million Bolivar to buy that same cup of coffee. Hyperinflation crushed the economy. Their currency is fucking worthless. No one gave a shit about it. People began going hungry. The economy's ruined. Unbelievable. Look, communism horrifying. Communists are horrifying. They're thieves. They'll steal everyone's money, whether it comes from another government or a private corporation. Don't fucking trust them. Buyer beware. Our government, the United States government, whether it's Democrat or Republican, always says they're freeing the people. We're going to bring democracy to a country. We're going to help them develop their economy, and they're going to live great lives. Didn't we do that for Afghanistan? And then our government gave $86 billion worth of military equipment, munitions, tanks, helicopters, planes, guns, bombs, bullets, and bullshit at fucking airports and bases. They just gave it to the Taliban. The same Musralian dickheads that got into the war, we just gave it all back to them, and the government did. But now Trump wants to say, hey, Maduro, we didn't give them no $86 billion for their oil fields. Probably several $billion. 1/10 or less of what Biden just threw away in Afghanistan. We're going to go get back by force that which is owed to us in Venezuela. I have no love for communists, folks. I do love the idea of helping other countries become free republics, not democracies. Democracies means rule by mob, right? It is the tyranny of the majority. A republic, by the way, protects the minority from the tyranny of the majority. But I don't trust our government to go in and do what they're supposed to do. They say they're there for freedom. They say they're there for democracy. They say they're there to stop the drug cartel. They say they're there to get our oil back, to get our money back that we invested in the oil. Wow. Right? Do you believe the government, or are they lying about half of it and telling the truth about the other part? Decide for yourselves. Some of us have friends down in Central America, South America, in Mexico, and we get what we consider to be reliable information and opinions, and that's good. Use what you know, see, and hear to develop your ideas. And thank you for the freaking awesome topic, Mr. Chin Music. And not a bot. Lynn checks in and says, every dollar 47, meaning Trump, every dollar 47 boasts he's bringing in someone comes knocking, asking for millions and billions, and the rebuilding of other countries. Yeah. Politicians promise everything. That's how they get elected. And giving money away is how they get reelected. I know it's a long time ago, but I know who I am and what I said. And during the 2016 election campaign season, before the election, just the campaign season, for those of you who have been here forever, like Uman and others, I said, why are we voting for a Republican or a Democrat when both sides, all they're doing is promising their constituents they're going to give them money? It was a giveaway of this benefit and a giveaway of that benefit, and we'll give you this and we'll give you that. Democrats, Republicans, Trump, Hillary, we're going to give away the world to everyone. It was about liberty and freedom. At the end of Trump's first term in office, his 2017 to 2020 term, it was incredible. He started to think, oh shit, freedom, liberty. Now, was he making that up to get reelected? Or was he aware and concerned that, yeah, this country isn't run by freedom and liberty and tradition, culture, and morals. It's run by megalomaniacs lying to their constituents, giving away as much money as they need to get reelected and retain their power. Propaganda. Do Stuff with Nikki says, our government never has and never will be in the humanitarian interest of, i.e. freedom. of any country, follow the damn money. I think that's sound advice, right? I don't go to work every day, folks, because I'm a humanitarian. It's not in me. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm going to tell you. If I go to work, I want to get fucking paid. Right? I'm not killing people for a living, so I'm not a mercenary, but I am mercenary in as much as I want to be paid. People don't give money in significant quantities like corporations, banks, political action groups, political action committees like AIPAC. They don't give away thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, and hundreds of millions and billions of dollars to politicians to be nice, to be good, to be honest. They buy votes to get money returned to them and to get special privileges. And that's why these companies and countries and rich people give their money to politicians. Now, you or me or someone like us, we may give $100 or $50 or $20 or $10 to a political candidate, local, state, or federal. But don't we expect something in return also? Isn't there a quid pro quo there? Well, there is. It's understood. If I'm giving you money because you're saying freedom, you say, I'll give you freedom. So I say, I'll give you money. And here's the money. Okay, I'll give you freedom. Then they get elected. They go to Washington and they don't give you money. They fuck you over. That's what happens. Follow the money. Who do the politicians reward? Who ends up getting the money? Well, the Democrats are good at giving it to their constituents through various types of welfare programs. SNAP, EBT, Section 8 housing, subsidies, free this, free that, free healthcare, all that shit, right? That's how they pay for those votes. But how do they return the favor to corporations and banks, political action committees, foreign governments? How do they pay them back? By passing legislation that's favorable to them. That legislation creates things like USAID that gives away billions of dollars. It creates programs, and I've never in my life heard that not just the federal government, but states and even cities within the United States of America, cities give money away to Israel. They literally take taxpayer money and give it away. Well, fascinatingly, today, Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, came out and said he wants to pass a constitutional amendment, not limiting, not reducing, but eliminating, which means no more, eliminating property taxes. I really hope that one, it's real legislation. Two, it gets voted on. Three, it gets passed. Four, it gets signed by him. And five, it makes it through the fucking court system without being, well, canceled by a Democrat judge. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind is yours. God bless you all. Thank you for support. Understand what propaganda is. Understand it. Don't be fooled. Yes, follow the money. That's a big one. Holy cow. Right? What motivates people? What motivates politicians? What motivates countries? Well, commodities like oil and gold. Well, that's basically money. It's all money. If it can be sold for money or currency, yeah, money, 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 power, power, power. That's government. Folks, get prepared because they've ruined their money tree. They've strangled the golden goose. And they want us to be unaware of who did it, why, and what's going to happen next. Be prepared. Be aware. God bless. Semper Fi.